So today was supposed to have been the Megaton openings, but unfortunately I didn't have time to go pick them up. But a friend of mine hit me up. It's like, hey, do you got a deck that you're willing to sell? And I was like, you know what? I had this put together, and I was like, you know what? I'll sell this to you. But I actually wanted to go in depth with it because I think this is a good deck. This is Salamangreat, by the way, if you can't tell by the bay links. This is going to be a competitive budget variant that does not feature Imperm, does not feature Access Code Talker. And what's so great about this is that Salamangreat is the deck that actually got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's very cheap. It's actually probably one of the cheapest decks to ever win Worlds. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of give y'all a breakdown of the tech choices I put in this budget variant, and these field centers back here. He's also getting them, but I'm gonna kind of tell y'all the tech choices I went with, and I kind of want to give y'all some explanation because this is a good deck for starting out your deck building. If you're not understanding how to deck build, or you just really need to understand your deck building process or how pros think of it. So start with superior starters. We're gonna start out with 3 debug. And what is okay? As you know, as I said, superior starter. What a superior starter is a starter that you want to always start with, no matter what. You don't fear Ash, you don't fear Imperm. It's just always a starter because this card's either going to get you your Gazelle or it's going to bait a hand trap. And I run 2 of the Flame Buffalo. Now I have seen some people running only 2 of this and 3 of this. To me, debug at 3 is always correct. You should never run less than 3 debug unless the FNL list hits it, which I don't think it's going to get touched on the FNL list. I've seen people cutting Flame Buffalo, but I don't run 3 desires because I don't like the opportunity or the chance in the deck of hitting desires off of desires. It's just terrible. It always comes up math wise, even though the numbers say it don't. Every time in probably 100 hands, I see at least 70% of the time, and it's just like I like to be able to draw into a hand trap or be able to draw into another extender. I'm gonna talk about this in a second. This is Gazelle. Obviously, it's not one. Even though this is budget, even though it's not doing a lot, this deck is not really doing a lot right now. Gazelle, this was one of the most powerful decks at one time. That's why Gazelle is sadly at 1. But it's what gets your play started. It gets whatever you need to the graveyard to recur off your wolf, and very great. This is definitely your superior starters, no question about it. I love this ratio. I love this lineup. I will probably play this lineup till the end of the deck, actually, in case something happens. Now, this is what I call starter 1.5. It's not in between. It's not superior, but it's not lower tier. The theory behind this is that if you open up with, say, Jaguar spinning in your hand, and you need a piece of spot removal because you're not playing Imperm, you're not playing Access Code Talker, I think this is a good pseudo for it. 2900 beat stick, and it banishes something, and it can actually get your stuff in the grave, and it can special summon itself, which I think is pretty good. I don't see a lot of variance running it, and it comes in the structure deck, like it's like right with the structure deck. So for your what I would call your tier, say this would be like your tier 1 point in your tier 1.5. What I call for your tier 2 lineup for the Salamangreat deck would be 2 Foxy. Now this is the prismatic, but you can get them common. Jaguar, Spinny, and Falco. And the reason I chose these for the tier 2 spot because these are just basically getting into your bay links. Now, Jaguar and these 2 right here, or actually these 5 right here, need to be in the graveyard. Now, this does have a graveyard recursion, but you're basically just trying to do the mill effect. These are not really. I guess Spinny could come up if you're trying to beat over something, like pitch it to get the 500-point boost, but Spinny, you don't always want to start out with that. Spinny is just better off in the graveyard. And the Falco, graveyard, pop it back up, get yours a Gazelle back in hand. Just the obvious if you know Salamangreat. So I call that about the tier 2 slot. And what I call for the lower tier, Falmo, 3 mining, and I play 2 desires. No, 3 desires. So This one could always be sided, but you do always want to see two because it just draws you in your hand trap. And you, like I said, Desires and Desires terrible. Silent Mining needs setup. And a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, that's a great. Okay, it needs setup because your play is to Silent Mining, pitch one of your other Solomon Great monsters, and then get Gazelle, keep going. So any card that requires setup is not going to be a superior card. And then I play the one of those because both special summons from hand just has Pot of Adverse. And these are real situational. I know people are just cutting these like crazy, but in this build, I would like to see more garnets or more starters than just saying, oh, hopefully I can go second playing 15 hand traps, because anytime that you have to play 15 hand traps in a deck, you're not deck building. This is going to be tier 3. Parallel Exceed. Will of the Solomon Great. Circle. Reborn and Foolish Burial. Parallel Exceed is good. It's a free link 4 in here. Will of Solomon Great, you have to have stuff in the graveyard. You have to have something in your hand. Monster Reborn. It comes up in situations, and then Circle. I wish Circle was that more, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. And then to finish off the this budget variant in the main deck, I got 3 Ash, 2 Veiler, the 1 Brick, 1 of each of the traps, and then Call by the Grave. Like I said, this is variant. We don't have Imperm, we don't have Access Code Talker. But you know what? I think this is a good deck. It still serves its purpose. It still does the same thing, and it does have some disruption. So, you know, you can't really hardly beat that, in my opinion. And we'll go off to the extra deck here real quick, because you know I'm not trying to make this video too long. 2 Balinks, and I'll show you in a second why the Madman did this. 3 Wolf, self-explanatory, is the best card in the deck. It's your best card in your deck. 2 Hit Leo for back row removal, and also on top of that, if you can relink it, then you can Rage off for 3. I think that's pretty good. Still playing Splash Mage even though we don't have the Access Code Talker, but this is still OTK. And then this is pumped up by your Desires. Borreload Dweller. And this is why I cut, because I think setting up Linkuriboh is very strong. It plays around Imperm, it plays around Evenly Matched, and you can get everything here to Solomon Great back in just by Jaguar. And you're running 2 Jaguars. So, you know, you're never gonna, it's gonna only really be situational that you're gonna miss the 3rd Balinks, but at that point, if you're having to miss it, in theory, you're probably gonna lose the game anyways. That's just how it is. I want to correct myself here real quick. I did say that I only ran 2 Desires. I do run 3 Desires. The reason behind that is that you do need to have for a side deck. You need to have something you could switch out your side deck, and we're gonna go ahead on to the side deck. So 1 Mind Control, 1 Practotops, 1 Parallel Order. Basically, that's the 1-ofs. You can switch it out with that, or you can switch it out with anything in the deck. I just like to have some type of removal. Now, this could be anything you want. I just put this in for the guy I'm selling this to, just where he can have something to go off of. 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Twin Twister. This is pretty good because you can pitch Jaguar off it or pitch Spinny off of it. Going first, Solemn Strike is really good in this format. And then goes Unlock. Guys, I know this is a quick little update video, but for all y'all been asking about my schedule, I do plan on uploading more for the week. I'm gonna try to have y'all video out every 3 days, but you know what? In the comment section down below, tell me what deck or what deck core was coming out when you had started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This was the deck that come out about around the time. This deck has been out for a little bit, but this is actually what got me into it. But you know, for budget variant, taking it to your locals, testing it online. If you don't want to like test the meta, this is still good. It's still tier 2-ish, maybe 1.5. Now this variant, obviously, without the access code, isn't going to be, but you know, you can still set up some crazy boards. You can still take care of your opponent if they don't know what you're playing for. Pot of Desires beats this guy up tremendously. So he's a really good pseudo replacement for the Access Code Talker, but you know, later on, if you could afford it, go ahead and pick it up. But guys, hopefully the next video that I have out will be the mail day. I was kind of hoping for that today, but the stuff didn't come in. But as always, if you're liking my content and you're enjoying everything I'm putting out, be sure you hit the subscribe button, because it costs you nothing and it helps me out and it lets me know you're enjoying the content I'm putting out.
I feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds